Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is Throwback Week here in the CIL. We are here at the Darlington Speedway in South Carolina. I will be one of your two casters tonight, Alex Gagnon, alongside me, Christian Hill, who's coming up, I believe, from the track to the booth after racing Watkins last week. Am I right?
That is right. Yeah, I was down on the asphalt last week at Watkins Glen.
So that you have a little more firsthand experience just as far as what these cars are going to handle. Like, granted, that is a road course, which is a different scenario, but tonight we take to one of the oldest ovals on the NASCAR Cup Series circuit as we bring the CIL drivers to Darlington. And with it being Throwback Weekend, there's already, I've seen a couple of them pop up on stream, some really cool schemes of people throwing it back to a variety of different not even drivers, but different paint schemes that they either admire for their car number or just drivers that they've enjoyed watching growing up.
Yeah, indeed. I think we have, I'm going to guess a good estimate. I think we have about 15 to 20 throwback schemes, and we'll be kind of focusing on them a little bit more tonight just to kind of give an appreciation for these paints and what these drivers are kind of rocking in their throwback scheme tonight.
Absolutely, and we'll have to show as many of them as we can because there is quite a few of them. As things currently stand, we are in the middle of qualifying here for the CIL Southern 200, currently on board with Jake Cummings out of Wingate University. Drivers are starting to get their opening times on the board here. We're starting to get an idea, Christian, of where people are going to start lining up for this event.
Yeah, definitely. And I think some of these drivers are also might end up having a bit of connection issues. So this could be a throw up race, depending on who goes where. Because as we all know, the United States and even I guess all of the North America is kind of getting some rough weather here tonight. So definitely going to be an interesting race here.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully it doesn't affect any of the drivers on the track here too much, and hopefully everyone's able to kind of keep their setups and settings in one piece. Is definitely the weather might be a bit of an issue here. That's a nice throwback there from Esteban Munoz, going back to the old Dale Senior Wrangler car. It's a neat take on it. I don't think I've ever seen it put on the next gen that way. I honestly am a fan.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of these drivers are super, super talented in, or their team are super talented in these paint schemes. And I think it's going to be something we're really gonna enjoy tonight as we can watch our Jared Kaler #1 spin it out. I don't know, is that commentator's curse as soon as I start talking about him? Spin it out in turn 3 or 4.
It's possible. I mean, we've already had a fair number of them on stream this year, and I'd imagine just with the nature of the beast, we'll see a few more of them as time goes on. Currently at the top of the board, it is Connor Levy out of Arizona State putting that 14 machine currently P1, although qualifying is only halfway done, so still plenty of time for anyone who has not set a lap to go and do so at this point. Currently on board with Dylan Godinez of the Penn College of Technology, one of their 3 entrants, all 3 of them with throwback schemes. Dylan Godinez going with the Davey Allison throwback.
Yeah, definitely some good throwbacks. We also have Ethan Head right here, who's also doing a Dale Earnhardt throwback. He's Ethan Head from Tennessee State. And a good-looking paint there, definitely. Anything with orange is it's definitely my kind of car, but looks good for Ethan Head. And I think he has a Spotify link on the back. I'm interested in seeing what that leads to.
I was just thinking the same thing. I don't know if I've ever seen that on the back of one of these cars. I'm very curious of where that's going to take. Hey, if someone watching wants to scan that and drop a suggestion of what that goes to, that would be great. Here's hoping Ethan kept it within between the bounds of the rule book here about whatever that take it to. But I have no doubt that he did. But I am curious to see what that could be. So if you guys figure it out, drop it in the chat so we can also find out here in the booth.
Yeah. But here we still have 3.5 minutes to go with Connor Levy up front, and then we have Rabel as a second. And is this forgive me, I haven't been too much up in the booth or driving, but P3, how do you pronounce that last name?
That is something that I have written down on my notes, and my notes are actively in a building I'm not currently in, which is a bit of a bummer. So we will hunt that down real quick, and whenever we find out, we'll let you know. Um, my initial thought would be Budimlik, but hopefully we
I
get
think
yeah.
I think that's right. Yeah, I think we just go word that it's Badumlik. All right,
Cool.
sounds good. We have Badumlik
So
in P3.
yeah, we're already off to a strong start here as far as the names are concerned. But right now, Connor Levy, provisional pole sitter, Robbie Vrabel Jr., the winner from a couple of weeks ago, currently sitting P2, only 100th off of the pole setting time. Then Budimik and Nordberg and Jake Cummings round out the top five as we see the cow car of Treston Yoder on track right now going down the backstretch here trying to set his flying lap.
Yeah, definitely interesting qualifying results so far. These aren't the people who I would have picked to be at the top of Darlington. And Darlington, it's an interesting track. I think it's tricky as we can, some people tend to spin out, but it also can be a relatively easy track. I feel like once you get into the groove of things and get going, but as you're in qualifying, you're pushing hard. You're trying to make use of literally everything you can. You're gonna be spinning out a lot there.
Yeah, the way I described it to someone the other day, this is one of my favorite tracks to practice on and one of my least favorite to race on. Because when you get into a groove, it is a load of fun. But then when there's one other car that takes you out of said groove and you have to start trying to get around someone, the corners here make it very tough to pass just because of how narrow it is. There's such a specific line you have to take around these corners, where if you're not the car in it, it can be pretty easy to lose control coming off a 2 or coming off a 4, especially because they're not the same corners. One's a bit wider than the other.
Yeah, and that definitely plays into something because you can't just take the same corner. It's every corner is different. I guess if you want to compare it to a road course of sorts, if someone is here racing road, all the corners are different. You're not going to take both corners the same. It's not a perfect shape. So it's definitely something. It's definitely a difficult track to get used to, and I really think tonight is going to be rough on the tires here. There's a specific, there's specific, I guess, driving patterns and driving styles you can do that will obviously improve it or not. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you. I mean, this track is really tough on tires, especially if you aren't careful with it. And, with nearly a full 40 car field, we got 37 who have run a lap here so far this evening. I mean, there's going to be a lot of cars fighting for the same couple pieces of real estate, but that'll basically do it for qualifying. Y'all can see up top the throwback CIL logo showing off to the league's roots back in season 1, which was a couple years ago. At this point, we are now in season 7, having run a couple fall semesters, a couple spring semesters, and even a summer season in there last year as well. So not a logo we've seen too much of recently, but when it's throwback weekend, everything's on the table. So taking a look at our starting lineup for tonight's Southern 200 from Darlington, it will be Connor Levy from Arizona State starting on pole and leading the teams to the green flag. Robbie Vrabel Jr. rolls off second to his outside, 14 thousandths off of the lead pace time. Nicholas Budemik for St. John's University is third, alongside Matthew Nordberg out of NC State rolling off fourth. Jake Cummings from Wingate will start fifth today alongside reigning series champion Jared Kaler, who rolls off sixth for UNC Charlotte. That program coming off of a great weekend last weekend where they finished 1-2 at the Watkins Glen race. Tim Robb out of American University will roll off seventh alongside Zach DeWale, the winner from this event last year. He won Darlington back in season 6. He rolls off 8th for St. Clair College. Athena LeClaire will roll off 9th, another St. Clair car, alongside Andrew Williams from Clemson, who finished 2nd in this race a season ago. Rolling off 11th, it's our Daytona 250 champion Jason Wallet, alongside Jeremy Miller and out of Purdue, the reigning Alumni Series champion. In 13th, it is Brandon Schulenberger out of Wingate University, alongside Michael Sidor of the Penn College of Technology. Jacob Wiest for UNC Charlotte rolls off 15th, alongside teammate Clinton Halterman, last week's winner at Watkins Glen. Rhett Crane for Ball State rolls off 17th. Esteban Munoz for FIU rolls off in 18th. Rounding out our top 20, it is Matthew Burton from East Tennessee State and Timothy Wilms out of Drexel in 20th.
And starting out in 21st, as we start to get these cars moving, we have Andrew Bacall from Purdue in 21st. 22nd is Zachary Sell from Minnesota State. 23rd is Dylan Godinez.
Yeah.
Excuse me. From Penn College at Technola. 24th with Austin DeLong from Penn College of Technola as well. Moving on to 25th from Technology. It was cut off. 25th from Colin Culpa from Indiana University. 26th from Matt Stawecki from James Madison University, followed by 27th from Alexander Hogarth from St. Clair College. 28th, Garrett Vitton from Arizona State. 29th is Andrew Burrell from Clemson. 30th is Edwin Onofre from North Texas. 31st is Tristan Yoder, Robert Morris University. Followed by 32nd, Cody Fadenauer from VCU. 33rd, Nick Stockner, Clemson. And we're going third, and we won't be able to finish this massive field.
It is a full field as they are getting ready to take the green flag. It is Connor Levy and Robbie Vrabel Jr. ready to bring him to the line. Barney's got the flag in the air. It'll drop, and away we go for the Southern 200. A bit of a checkup on the outside line, but the leader's going to lay cleanly as Vrabel launches in the turn one, taking over the lead.
We're already onto a caution, as I think from that start there, I don't think any cars got turned. I would have to go back and check, but definitely a bit of a chaos there in the beginning. Bunch of checkups. I think a car may have gotten into the wall.
Yeah, it looked like people got bottled up a little bit. We're taking a look here at Caden Kimball, who was one of the guys who qualified, I believe, in the last few positions here. It looks like everyone's trying to get themselves sorted out positionally as they get to the line. So yeah, they're getting up to speed. The green flag dropped here, and Caden Kimball just comes in and makes contact with the 52 and leaves it nowhere to go for Ethan Head out of Tennessee. So a bit of a rough start for those guys there as the lines couldn't quite get set before the actual drop of the green flag. Hopefully we don't see too much of that this evening, because that's certainly a good way to derail the flow of a race. So if we won, actually, we have a second. We could probably finish out our starting grid. I don't imagine too many positions probably changed.
Not too sure.
We'll see if producer Scott's able to pull that one back up or not. It will not. Okay, so we will not be doing that. But, it's a work in progress here in the CILs. I can't imagine anyone's coming in after the whole quarter lap of racing there, Christian. But, having racing these cars this season, when it comes to getting a high amount of acceleration, these cars have a lot of power under them, and it's pretty easy to, spin the tires on these restarts, or that's the way it would seem based off of some of the racing that we've seen so far. Would you agree with that, or what was your take from last week as far as how these cars launch off the line?
Yeah, I'm not comparing completely orange and apples versus road racing versus oval racing, but you definitely have quite a bit of power underneath you, and no traction control. It's all just pure power underneath your foot. So you definitely have to feather your way into the start, especially on the first lap. Your tires are cold. You only got one little lap around, and so it's definitely going to be, you don't have tire blankets or anything like that. So it's definitely going to be rough on that first start. Maybe you want to feather or maybe if you're far enough in the back, just start in third. If you're probably starting in second gear, it's definitely something you want to be cautious of on especially that first start.
Yeah, I think you make a great point there about the fact that the tires were cold, and they will continue to be cold for this next one. You can't imagine much heat got into them in the short stint we had there. One thing that is worth noting that was a change following the race at Richmond a couple weeks ago. There will no longer be fast repairs moving forward. So if your car takes a big shot somewhere, that's basically going to be the end of your night. It used to be you could use the fast repair, basically exchange the car you were in for a brand new one that didn't have any damage and get back out there. But that is not going to be the case here tonight or really moving forward for the rest of the CIL Cup Series season. which also will probably mean that some of these guys, especially in the mid-pack, are going to be a little more cautious when it comes to making that extra move trying to get by someone, because if it doesn't stick, it could spell calamity for everybody involved.
Yeah, and I think definitely for this track being a little bit, like I said, more of a
and they're going
slipperier...
single file for it. All right, flag is in the air.
Really?
iRacing is having a giraffe at the moment, and all right, I guess they're going. So,
all right then.
We'll let the engines roll for a second just to make sure everything's flowing as normal. But yeah, it looks like we're back to green flag racing.
Interesting. Single restarts. Interesting. Oh, that'll definitely cut down on the cautions, because we all know caution breed cautions. But I guess here we go. We're racing with the green flag. Connor Levy is P1, followed by Robbie Vrabel P2, and Nicholas Budimilek in P3.
Yeah, I mean, here we go. It's the race is on, and right now, Robbie Vrabel Jr. all over the back of Connor Levy. He had a great jump into turn 1 against Levy on the two-line restart. Obviously, kind of stuck behind Levy here, knowing it was single file, but he has not let that 14 car get away from him too far here as they start lap number 6 of our scheduled 150 this evening. Right now, Levy only with about a 2-car length advantage on that 075 car of Robbie Vrabel. Vrabel, our winner at Auto Club a few weeks ago, he knows what it takes to get it done in the CIL. Connor Levy still looking for his first ever CIL victory at the high level here.
Yeah, Connor Levy is starting out with a great run so far, followed by Robbie Vrabel Jr. From St. Clair. So we definitely have some battles here, and they've got a decent gap on the rest of the field there. So I think they're just kind of cruising there. They're going to essentially, I guess, push each other just further and further as much as they can, because, I mean, we're lap 7 out of 150. I know they're not trying to make any crazy passes for the lead. And, this is the point. If I'm one of those two, I'm just sitting there and I'm just going to relax. I'm going to try to keep a pace. I'm going to have that groove that we were talking about earlier, and I'm just going to go.
Yeah, I'm sure both of these drivers are content to kind of run where they're at the moment, because if you're Robbie Vrabel Jr., if Levy makes a mistake, you can capitalize on it, and if he doesn't, it just helps the two of you get farther away from the rest of the field. I mean, Matthew Nordberg out in NC State is running 4th, and he's already about half a straightaway behind the leaders, meaning that the remainder of our 37 cars in the field here today, or even farther behind that, is now Vrabel looks to the inside here, trying to make a move coming off of 4 against Levy, able to stay side by side for the moment, but has to back out a little bit, drops in behind that 14 car out of ASU, and is going to regroup and try again here. 9 laps away, and already Robbie Vrabel looking to make the move for the lead.
Yeah, I guess Robbie and I don't share the same kind of ideology of how we want to run a race. I guess he's just saying, "Hey, I want to be first. I want to be leading this race." And I guess a good old screw you to Connor Levy. I want to be up there. But I mean, he's doing a great job right now. They're both doing a fantastic job. They're just kind of grooving along. Maybe Connor made a slight mistake, and I guess Robbie was like, "Hey, maybe I'll capitalize on that. Maybe not." We'll have to see on the future how this plays out. But both drivers doing a phenomenal job and pulling away from Nicholas.
Yeah, Levy gets really close to that wall coming out of 2. I mean, he actually may have clipped it just a little bit. If not, it was a razor fine edge here. Really using as much of the track as he can to his advantage right now to keep the 075 behind him. Vrabel thought about going for it there. He is on the bumper of that Sun Devil machine, trying to find the way around. He's running a little closer to the wall, might get a little bit of a better run off of 2. Once again, Levy barely avoiding the wall coming off of 2. Diving into 3 now, Vrabel on the inside. They are side by side. The 075 trying to make the move. Still on the inside there as they come off of 4. Both drivers have to make sure they don't run out of real estate too quickly there, as a little bit of contact between the 075 and the 14. Maybe a little bit of a warning shot from Robbie saying, "Hey, I'm here and I'm trying to make the move, so you best hit your marks perfectly."
Yeah, Robbie definitely kind of letting him know these there as they're approaching a back marker currently of, I believe,
Caden
Kimball, yes.
5.
Or not, I guess not a back marker yet, but
well, he's about to go a lap down here. And he was one of the cars involved in that lap 1 incident there. So definitely not the way Caden Kimball wanted to start his race here this evening. Good job, though, from Connor Levy to get around lap traffic without it really affecting his position too much, as now Vrabel once again is going to try and make the move into 3. He has got a nose in there, but nothing more. Levy really able to wheel it around the outside, and he'll be fully clear before they even come back off of 4. Vrabel once again sets in behind his bumper. A lot of opportunities already for Robbie Vrabel to try and find his way around, but to this point, Connor Levy has put up a pretty stout defense.
Yeah, Connor Levy definitely putting those elbows out as he Robbie Vrabel again tries to go for the move. He's going to make the move successful. This is the farthest he's been up on Connor this entire night. They're side by side going around turn 4, trying to make it going front stretch. Here we go. Robbie definitely closer. He's tire to tire. Give him a little bit of a side bump there as we see Robbie go down a little bit further. I don't know if he's going to be able to make this pass, but I think this turn is going to be definitely the spot where if he has to make it, he's going to make it. Unfortunately, he slides back underneath Connor Levy.
Yeah, I mean, that was the closest he's been so far for sure. Levy able to keep his cool, keep his positioning, and was able to ride that outside line through 1 and 2 back to the lead here as he gets a little loose off of 4. I don't know if he had help or not. Either way, they are now side by side. Vrabel on the outside looks to cut back under him here, trying to charge forward. He's got a nose to the corner as they come out toward 2. Now it's even tighter. Levy in the wall a little bit, and that will hand the lead over to the 075. And now it is Connor Levy on the offensive trying to reclaim his lost lead here as he made a bit of contact with the outside wall coming off of 2, opening the door for our Auto Club winner to move in and lead his first laps of the evening.
Yeah, as we could see, we had the 888 of Andrew Burrell down on the bottom there, kind of just hanging out. Not really sure what was going on there, but we do have quite a few cars in the pits. Unsure if there was a kind of a wreck that ended up not being flagged for a yellow. Yeah, we have a couple cars in there, and that 888 that you saw down below was of Andrew Burrell when the 075 made the pass on the 14.
What's also interesting is that if our timing table's right, the guy who was running third, Nicholas Budimlik, he is now in pit lane as well, so I'm not entirely sure what happened there, but that will move Matthew Nordberg up into the final podium position. As right now, Jake Cummings is who we're on board with, and he has a mirror full of Tim Robb out of American University. And Robb now trying to make the move on the inside. He thought about it. I think he's going to tuck back into line here going into 3. Said he's going to pull right up to the bumper of the 95. He's still looking to make that move coming off the corner, and he just puts the nose down and is trying to drive past him, but the tight turn there coming out of 4 is going to limit his ability to run off it when he's pulling the wheel that tight. But now he's going to try again in 1 and 2. We got pretty good racing throughout the field here, as this is the battle for somewhere in the top 10. I want to say 4th or 5th. This is indeed 4th and 5th. All right, nailed it right on the head. And now Andrew Williams interjecting himself as well, running in 6th, hoping for a little bit more.
Andrew Williams, definitely not someone to scoff at. He's definitely made his point that he's here to race every single race. You know, he's always there, kind of playing in the top 10, top 5, or even, leading the race every once in a while. But, he's definitely someone to kind of keep an eye on and maybe even root for if you're here, Clemson fan. We got quite a few Clemson drivers that pop in and out in CIL, and he's definitely someone to keep an eye on. Also, one of the CIL administrators here. So definitely a good driver to watch out for.
Yeah, Andrew Williams is still looking for his first career CIL victory, if my math is correct. He's had a number of top 5s and even more top 10s, but still looking for that elusive victory number 1. He's come close on a number of occasions, including 2nd in this race last year. Currently running in the 5th position. We'll have to see if the momentum he's carried continues, as it looks like the 42 of Garrett Fatton's in the wall. Will that bring out the caution? Does not seem like it. We continue. That 42 machine out of Arizona State looks a little worse for wear. Let's see what happened. So there he is, pulling up behind the 13 of Andrew Stagey. Andrew Stagey. So here's the 42 going through 3 and 4. Looks like Dylan Godinez got a little loose, and that may have checked up Stegi or made contact with Stegi, and it also collects the 42. And what's been a rough circumstance for all those guys. No caution, though, which is probably only the biggest issue for all of them, is they're definitely going to lose not only some track position, but probably a couple of laps as well, as they had to take some time to get themselves sorted out. Stegi already 4 laps down on the monitor.
Yeah, we've had quite a few people hit the wall. As you can, I went back and checked. The 888 was one of the drivers who also hit the wall, along with I believe Esteban Munoz. I'm not. Esteban. I think it was also one of the drivers at the wall. So we've had quite a few drivers just not be able to hit the wall.
Contact. Yeah, not only are, to your point, Christian, about cars hitting the walls, cars are starting to hit each other a little bit here as these tires are starting to wear away. Now 24 laps on them for everyone who's still on the lead lap here. Kaler got into a little bit of contact with Vuitton coming off the corner. As right now we are on board with Zach DeWale, who won this race a year ago. He knows what it takes to get it done at Darlington. I believe he's running in the 6th position right now as he's trying to hunt down, that might be Andrew Williams ahead of him.
Yeah, indeed, it is Andrew Williams ahead of him. In front of him is Jake Cummins, and then finally we have Matthew Norberg, who starts our first, not first, but our last of the podium places. So Zach DeWale only 3 spots away. That can definitely change a lot, especially if we have a caution or, you know, the green flag pit stops. Anything could cause him to get up there into that spot. So he's definitely still in contention for a podium or even a win.
Cummings gets really loose out of 4. Williams flies by. DeWale now side by side as they go in the 1. They make contact. DeWale's in the wall. Cummings goes up toward him. The 0-2 able to keep it from any further damage. Caution does not fly, but the moment Cummings... Oh, and Kaler's in the wall now. He hits a shot there. I don't know if it was on his own or if he got assisted by Jeremy Miller, but there is havoc happening all over the place right now. And... you know, this is the racing equivalent of the refs putting the whistle away. I mean, this continues to stay green. Oh, boy. Yeah, the 100 all over the back of the 1 there a little bit, and then just with a little bit of the extra speed, I guess, unable to keep that car contained coming off of 2. So, rough break for our reigning champion and current points leader, Jared Kaler, as that car definitely not handling the way it's supposed to right now after that pretty heavy shot into the wall.
Yeah, these drivers definitely are having a rough time in these longer sprints with these races. Maybe they didn't practice too long enough.
Leclerc now on the door of Jake Cummings. I wonder if there might be retribution for the contact with DeWale. It looked like there might have been a little contact off of 4, but Leclerc makes the pass, and now it's Leclerc and Miller and 2 of the, dare I say, more vocal drivers in the CIL.
That's a way to put it.
So, according to producer Scott, and there goes Godinez again. Another car down onto the infield. But according to producer Scott, the reason we no longer see Nicholas Budemlik on the track was because he made contact with the Ball State driver. He's not sure which one, but one of Alif, Kimball, or Stegi. 2 of those 3, I do believe, are off the lead lap at this point. As right now, Zach DeWale, after that bit of contact with Jake Cummings, trying to rally back here past Jeremy Miller, and this is the battle for the 6th position.
Yeah, indeed. And I was also kind of noted from the stewards that Nicholas Budimlik has disconnected or has been disconnected. Like I said, we may lose a driver here and there just because of the North American climate and weather at the current moment. So as well as Caden Kimball of the number 55 has also been disconnected. So losing cars here and there, dropping like flies, and if they're being disconnected or they're spinning off the track, it's definitely something. And a note to also, you may see a lot of these cars spin out or kind of have an issue, and you don't see a yellow flag fly, and that's because here at Darlington, the what's the word I'm looking for? The apron goes up very far. Actually, you'd be shocked of how skinny the actual track is, and then how much of the apron is considered. And if you're on the apron, you're not on the racing surface anymore, and so then the yellow flag won't fly. So if you were wondering why there was no yellows, that's one of the reasons.
That's a great point to make. I was a little curious myself. I had a feeling it might have been that, but I did not have necessarily the confidence to put that out onto the into the world on the live broadcast. As we see Robbie Vrabel, who's still our current leader, getting around the 124 of Nick Stockner, doing a wonderful Kyle Petty throwback. But Robbie Vrabel has checked out from the rest of the field. His lead now at least several seconds, as the caution now does come out. Second caution of the evening, as it looks like the 7 car of Brandon Schulenberger into the wall pretty hard. He was running 10th. Clint Halterman also sideways. He had started in the mid-teens and I think worked his way up to around the top 10. We'll have to see what happened between these two cars. Cody Fendenhauer looks like he may have been involved as well, that 804 out of ECU. We'll try and queue up the replay here, but it looks like a couple of pretty quick cars were involved.
Yeah, we're looking at was Cody Feidenhauer. There we go. We have Brandon Schulenberger just kind of sitting in the wall there, unsure really of what's happening, what happened with him. I guess maybe he got into the wall along with. I also have a note that Clint Halterman also crashed. Oh, I see what happened.
Very loose, hammers that inside wall. Yikes! And then just drifts up nearly. Oh boy. Lucky he didn't collect anyone else at that point in time. Don't know. Halterman just in a separate incident then gets loose as well. And I wonder if the caution was brought up for the fact that he was up onto the racing surface wall like you mentioned. And then let's see what happened. Oh, does Cody not see it? Oh, Cody didn't see him till the last second. Oh, that's a tough break.
Yeah, he's just stuck on the racing track, and I want to say that the one with Brandon Schulenberger, honestly, I want to say he lost steering. That seemed like he wasn't able to steer anymore. Then there goes the ghost.
Therese.
The ghost of Santiago.
Looks like a lot of people are going to be coming down. Those tires, I'm sure, are shot, Christian, after a good 30-lap stint or so. Because to your point that you mentioned in the pre-race, this track is not the most generous to tires, and that was a pretty decent green flag stint there.
Yep. We've already lost quite a few drivers here, but as you know, as we can remember, that there are no more these magical, fixing of the cars. You don't have an extra car to jump into or anything like that. And so it's a lot of these drivers, we just saw Cody Feidenhauer or Brandon Schulenberger. Their car may be toast, or they might be able to come back on track a little bit later. But yeah, the tires, not to quickly jump topics, but the tires last about, I was talking to some of these drivers before the race, 20 laps or so. After 20 laps, that's when you're starting to think about, hey, green flag pit stops may become a thing. I think they can get out to maybe 30, 40 laps, and by then they're going to want to come in and pit. They get 4 sets of tires.
Yeah, I mean, that would check out given that we are 35 laps in here and no one really pit after the lap 1 incident given how early it was. So most of these guys have probably run about 35 laps on those tires, and the age of it was certainly showing a bit here. So I'd imagine we're going to see the full armada coming down pit lane here as Robbie Vrabel will more than likely. Oh, they've already pitted. Well, even better. We were watching the replay as they pit. So the field more or less has come down the pit road. Producer Scott, I'm guessing everyone came down for tires? Everyone has indeed come down for tires, so everyone's got 4 fresh ones on there, and people, I have a feeling, will start feeling a lot more confident in their restart ability here, knowing how the last one went on cold tires, so we'll have to think back to that one as they split into their 2 lines here. But it is Robbie Vrabel Jr., Connor Levy still hanging out in P2 after getting passed around lap 15. Andrew Williams has moved up to the 3rd position there. He must have got around Nordberg on pit road, if my memory serves me correctly. I thought Nordberg was ahead of him before the pit cycle. Nordberg is P4, and then Jeremy Millerin rounds out your pit 5. A couple of cars taking the wave around. Who was that? Jared Kaler has taken the wave around. That's a big break there for both Kaler and Halterman, taking the wave around there, getting them a little bit closer to the lead lap. Clint Halterman, last week's winner at Watkins Glen, but involved in that most recent wreck. He'd be very happy, I'm sure, to get back into the fight here if his car is willing and able.
Yep, as we can kind of see the lights out on the pace cars, we are coming here to green with Robbie Vrabel and Connor Levy lining up on the first line, followed by Andrew Williams and Matthew Norberg on the second line. Definitely 4 very fast drivers as we come here through the green flag, and it is about to be waved. Now, there we go.
Sweet time dropping the flag here and charge off into turn number 1. Vrabel leading the way, and Andrew Williams is not too far behind as these guys roar through turns 1 and 2. That's one of my favorite camera angles. The spread that these guys get. Oh, and Miller definitely hit the wall there coming off of 2. Bit of a shot there, but he keeps it forward, but he will lose out to Tim Robb. He was running around the 5th or 6th position. Now he looks to be back in 8th.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit more rough on that restart. We had a double file instead of like we had the single file last time. I did hear a couple of drivers saying single file restarts was nice. However, it's not the way we do things around here. So we're back to double wide, and as we can see, some of these drivers like Andrew Williams being kind of challenged there from Athena Leclerc and Connor Levy. Trying to go side by side there with Connor Levy. He's trying to just reach out just in front of Athena Leclerc. I feel like Connor's getting a little bit of a deja vu back here again, just not with a different driver.
Yeah, he's had his run-ins already with the St. Clair crew tonight. First battling with Robbie Vrabel for the lead, now battling with Athena Leclerc for 3rd. Andrew Williams made the pass after Levy clipped the wall, which moved the Clemson driver into P2. It'll now be Andrew Williams' job to try and chase down Robbie Vrabel for the lead. As right now we see Miller charging back to the bumper of Tim Robb. These guys are all in the top 10 here, running single file here as we enter lap 40. But definitely this is a kind of track where you're single file till you get up to someone's bumper and then you try and make the move in one of these corners, which is where we've seen a lot of the action here. As right now we are on board with Andrew Williams. Little far off from Robbie Vrabel at the moment, but now with no one in front of him, he can really go to work and try and chase down that 075.
Yeah, P1 and P2 have pretty massive gaps between each other, and between Andrew Williams and Connor Levy is just a massive gap. I do expect them to close up over time as maybe Connor Levy, Athena Leclerc, and Tim Robb kind of push each other up towards them. As actually, it looks like Andrew Williams is closing that gap on Robbie Vrabel just a little bit each time throughout the thing. I think originally he was about half a second up. Now they're about quarter of a second up on each other, so definitely getting closer and closer each time.
Absolutely, as we saw a nice shot there of a couple of the Penn Tech cars, Michael Sidor and Austin DeLong both running Richard Petty throwbacks for their respective schools today. Is right now we do see the gap has closed a little bit. Andrew Williams starting to reel in the leader, and the two of them have checked out from the rest of the field. You can see at the timing table on the bottom right of your screen, folks. That gap has dropped from a second to about half a second over the past 3 laps, so definitely some work being put in there by the 23 out of Clemson as he continues to get a little bit closer and a little bit closer to that Saints Esports car. And then it's quite a distance back to Connor Levy in 3rd, and the rest of the field, you see them charging off of 2 behind. There is about 8-9 car lengths between 2nd and 3rd.
Yeah, Andrew Williams is definitely catching up to Robbie Vrabel. He's almost about 2 car lengths behind him currently right now. But I think the issue where Williams is gonna have an issue is when he gets up behind that car, he's gonna be passing that car. As we saw Robbie Vrabel Jr. have a really hard time trying to pass Connor Levy earlier in this race around lap 9 and lap 10. So once Andrew Williams catches up, we'll have to see how well he could pull the pass off, and maybe what Robbie learned on Connor back in those laps, and seeing how he can defend against Andrew Williams.
Yeah, that is the one thing that is very advantageous here at Darlington, is that with not a ton of room to operate, you very much get to pick where you force your opponent to go. The problem is when your opponent gets alongside you, you're both kind of in a really tough spot because there's not a lot of room to operate. So I would say it's a bit of a chess match out here between these two, but for that to happen, Andrew Williams does need to close up onto the bumper. He's right about 2-3 car lengths behind, but that's where he stayed for the past couple laps. He's kind of stagnated a little bit here, trying to find that little extra bit of momentum to reel down Vrabel, but every time he seems to close in through coming off of 2, he seems to lose a little bit of momentum coming off of 4, and then that gap kind of just keeps accordioning from about 2 car lengths to like 3 or 4.
Yeah, and if I were a betting man, which I'm not, but if I were, Andrew Williams, I'm going to say I think he burned through that first bit of tire trying to catch up to Robbie there, and Robbie was just kind of maybe cruising along at a normal pace, whereas Drew Williams, he tried to really burn his tires trying to catch up to him, and I think he burned through that first initial grip you get for those first few laps. It's really nice. You feel like you're on rails. It's fantastic. Once that wears off and you're on those, like, I guess, your normal tires, and you're just at the ever so normal grade, it gets harder and harder as we go throughout. And I think he definitely burned through that initial, tire grip.
Yeah, and it could be something like calculated. He could be like, all right, now that I've reeled him in, I'll just kind of settle back in and not overtax him until my moment comes. Right now, Tim Robb diving in on Athena Leclerc. This is the battle for 4th and 5th. That car, both new paint schemes there. One, just a new paint scheme for St. Clair's, a number of their drivers. And Tim Robb throwing it back to, I believe it's Tim Richmond, who's got the side of that car there. As that 5 car out of American University, power move into 3 and 4, slides up in front of the 61. He will take away the 4th position, but now Athena Leclerc diving back to the inside on the front stretch. This battle for 4th will continue.
Yeah, both of those paints are absolutely beautiful. Athena Leclerc, actually all of St. Clair College, I believe, has these kind of paints, with the exception of Robbie Vrabel, I think is kind of still strutting that that other normal paint scheme. But yeah, Athena Leclerc just losing out to Tim Robb for that 4th place, while she now moves back to 5th place.
Yeah, now falling into the grasp of Jeremy Millerin and Matthew Nordberg, 2 cars who we've seen have a lot of speed in previous CIL races as they're trying to make their way back into the top 5. They're both staring down the back of that 61 machine, trying to make it happen. 50 laps gone of our 150-lap race here at Darlington. And looks like Millerin got really loose off of 2. He was down to the inside, flies back up top. Matthew Nordberg now really closed the gap in on that 100 car, getting a little bit closer, trying to make it a fight for that 6th position. This is 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th all on your screen right now.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be a close race. They're all going to be able to catch up to each other.
Vrabel was in the wall for a second there, I think, in 1 and 2. I think that's going to let Williams close back into him a little bit.
Yeah, either he got into the wall or he was kissing that wall real close, because that looked very close. He maybe left a little bit of paint shavings there on that wall.
Well, it is a very infamous thing here at Darlington, the Darlington stripe, the nice dark marks you leave along the outside of the wall when you kiss it because of how narrow these corners are. It looked like Vrabel may have just gotten his a second ago. We've seen a number of drivers already pick theirs up this evening, and with only 52 of our 150 laps gone, I'd imagine we're going to see quite a few more of them happen as well.
Yeah, you read my mind. It was just about to say something about the Darlington. I was like, isn't that called the Darlington stripe? But you ended up picking that up right after me. I am curious how much...
think alike.
That's true. I wonder how much Darlington spends on paint for their walls each year. It has to be more than other tracks. Has to be.
It's got to be. If top 3, I'm shocked.
Oh, yeah.
Right now, we're being treated to a stellar battle here between a number of cars in the midfield here. That is Muhammad Alif on the back of Michael Sidor of the Penn College of Technology. That 12 car is going to dive to the inside of 3 and 4, trying to make the move around the 46. Jason Wallet waiting in the wings, trying to see who's going to be the winner of this confrontation. It is going to be Alif, and now Wallet charging to the inside past the 46. He's got a nose ahead of him, and now he's going to look to try and keep pace with that 12 car out of Ball State.
Yeah, now just gapping that Ball State car there with our Muhammad Alif, is 76 of Jason Wallet from Drexel University, really charging in, trying to follow that other Ball State car right there. He's definitely a pretty good driver. He showed himself at the very first. He's our winner of the Daytona, our first race with the Daytona, and he's kind of showed himself there who he can be and who he can drive. And he's a 2025 grad, so we're gonna have him for a few more seasons. Definitely excited to see what he can put down this season and the seasons to come.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully he sticks around for the next couple of seasons, as he is a fun one to watch. I mean, he put on quite the show at Daytona. As right now, Leclerc gets back around Tim Robb, and there is a chain of cars behind him.
Oh, this part of the field is shuffled up immensely. Nordberg and Millerin are both through up in the 4th and 5th. Leclerc's back in 6th. Austin DeLong has moved up in the 7th. Edwin Onofre, who finished 4th here last year. He's no stranger to finding success at Darlington. He's up into the 8th position. Tim Robb and Jake Cummings have dropped back quite a ways, as now we see Muhammad Alif trying to get by Tim Robb. Something's got to be wrong on that 5 machine, because he is going backwards in a hurry.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what's going on with Tim Robb there. Maybe he got up into the wall, maybe he has a bit of damage, or maybe he's just burned through his tires super quickly. I'm not really sure, but yeah, he's definitely kind of dropping there throughout the race. And but meanwhile, we're watching Edwin Onofre kind of power through the leagues here.
Absolutely. Nice little throwback to Danica Patrick's GoDaddy scheme here out of the University of North Texas, as he just flies past Austin DeLong. Looked like DeLong was standing still. He'll lose out to Onofre, and now Muhammad Alif. That 22 car out of the Penn College of Technology, throwing it back to Richard Petty, going backwards in a hurry, is now Connor Levy has reeled in Andrew Williams for second, looking to make the move here. This is a battle of two of the fastest cars that we've seen all evening.
Yeah, DeLong got into the wall just there in that Richard Petty's paint scheme. So yeah, the right side of his car is a bit scuffed up right now, but he's still pushing his way through. But that's why he looked like he was standing still, because he just got his own Darlington stripe right there. As he gets into it again, oof, he's having a rough time right now.
Yeah, right there. Connor Levy also having a bit of a rough time. He got loose off of 4 a little bit, so unable to make the pass coming off of 4 against Andrew Williams. Austin DeLong just trying to hold on to that position right now in the fringe top 10 area. I think he's running about 11th or 12th. Or he is indeed running 10th, so he is trying to hold on to his top 10 at the moment. Jason Wallet and Jake Cummings, though, definitely waiting to try and pounce on the opportunity, knowing that 22 is not at 100% right now after he clipped the wall. Jason Wallet just ripping it around the outside. Not often you see someone make the move into the outside part of the track there. He clips the wall a little bit down the front stretch, but does make the pass. And now he finds himself in P10 with a lot of momentum and probably a little bit of bent and fender.
Definitely, indeed. Jason's just kind of powering his way through. He's kind of sitting in a bit of a gap right now, as we can see. Zachary DeWale trying to make a move on that other St. Clair car, which is
that is Weist out of UNC Charlotte, who's he's had a pretty decent run thus far this season. Currently running in the mid-pack here, just outside of the top 10, which is where we typically find him in a number of these races, I feel like. Definitely a guy who can make something happen, but right there lost out to Zach DeWale, which is nothing to hang your hat on, because Zach DeWale did finish second in the points last season, as now Weist is going to have to defend from behind against his teammate Clint Halterman. But we move back to the front here. Andrew Williams, Connor Levy, the battle for second rages on, Christian.
Yeah, the battle for second definitely rages on, but it doesn't rage on, the battle for first, because guess who is almost 4 seconds ahead of P2 and P3 right now, which is Robbie Vrabel Jr., which is absolutely insane. I need someone to check his car after this race, because he has some type of turbojet on his car right now, and I want to know what it is.
Might be the old Michael Waltrip racing rocket fuel in the exhaust pipe,
Possibly.
Right now, Connor Levy, though, side by side, still with Andrew Williams coming through the corner. He's trying to make the move here, going in the 1 and 2. Outbreaks the 23. Smart move by Williams, though, just to back out of that, knowing that it's tough for both cars to enter turn 1 at that speed with neither of them giving an inch. Williams will look to try and track down the 14 again here as they go into 3 and 4. And their battling has brought the 076 of Matthew Nordberg into the picture. I'm sure he's watching this with a lot of interest, knowing that these guys are probably really taxing their tires and exhausting their attack strategies, as Nordberg can then close up and potentially make a move on them themselves.
Yeah, definitely burned up a little bit of their tires. I wouldn't say they burned up too much, because they weren't side by side for too long, but they definitely burned up their tires just a bit. When they went side by side like that, I watched the timing tower, and they dropped about a second, half a second in time to Robbie Vrabel Jr. in first place. So that definitely cost both of them a lot of time and a bit of wear on their tires. So yeah, Matthew Nordberg's just kind of sitting back there waiting for something to happen, and he's gonna take the bait.
So yeah, it is still Vrabel, Levy, Williams, Nordberg, your top 4. Athena Leclerc holding on to 5th with Muhammad Alif not too far off behind her. Both of them ripping the outside here of 1 and 2, trying to make the move. And this has become a battle of really, been a couple of long green flag runs here. So once again, a lot of wear is falling on the tires. And if you're what people were telling you earlier is true there, Christian, we might have to start looking at the idea of some green flag stops here pretty soon if these tires start getting really bad. I mean, we're seeing cars getting loose all over the place now.
Yeah, we're about 30. I think we've doubled our lap countage since we went to that yellow flag. So I think they're definitely coming in. They're starting to hurt. Yeah, definitely going to be coming into pits definitely pretty soon. Like I said, I think we've doubled our lap count since then, and that was when everyone got their tires. So we're going to be looking at green flag pit stops, I think, within the next 5 to 10 laps from a decent amount of these drivers.
Yeah, for sure. We do know that. Yeah, let's do some biggest movers here, and the first person we're going to be looking at is Muhammad Alif, who started off toward the back of this field. How many positions is he up there, Scott? 31?
Oh my
Plus
gosh.
31 spots for Muhammad Alif. He rolled off 37th, which would be the last place on the grid here today, and he has driven himself into P6, so one heck of a start here for him. Now taking a look at two-time race winner this season, Santiago Perez. He is plus 26, so a couple of these guys on the move here early, Christian.
Yeah, that is absolutely insane. Plus 26, plus 31. And then now we have Edwin Onofre, who is plus 22. That is from University of Texas. That is a massive, massive gap from, the back there. He's P8, Santiago is P12, and as we saw earlier, Muhammad Alif is P6. So all of these drivers within the top half of this race where they started well beyond that.
Yeah, they are really boogieing. Colin Kolpa up plus 7. I mean, he's having himself a pretty solid day there for the University of Indiana. Always someone who finds himself in the mix in the alumni division. He's currently running P18 after starting in 25th. As that was Matthew Burton getting really loose in the Kevin Harvick throwback down there. He's able to catch it coming out of 2, but definitely going to shave a little bit of time off his lap, or add a little extra lap time on to shave a little bit of speed, getting that loose coming off of 2. It's a cool looking throwback.
Yeah, I'm really loving a lot of these throwbacks. They're looking pretty good. I can't complain. We have some pretty talented Yes, we have pretty talented drravers in here.
Well,
but also we have some pretty talented. No, yeah, they can make great paints, but they suck at driving. No, they're fantastic. But we have
Yeah, go ahead.
We currently have the battle for second between Andrew Williams, Matthew Norberg, and Connor Levy right now. Connor Levy was able to take that. As he gets into the wall. So does, I think, Andrew Williams just a little bit into the wall as well, but definitely not as bad as Connor Levy, which closes that gap even more. Again, Connor Levy in the 14 machine, Andrew Williams in the 23, and Matthew Norberg in the 076. I believe Matthew Norberg is also our alumni, our highest alumni right now.
Excuse
me, Vrabel. I forgot he's alumni.
But Nordberg is second, and he is salivating at the opportunity here. Might be able to get 2 positions in one go, as both Williams and Levy are throwing haymakers at each other, trying to make the move for second. They both keep finding themselves adding a couple of Darlington stripes to their name this afternoon, and Nordberg's just sitting back and waiting for something to happen so he can make his move and capitalize on it, as Williams shoots through the gap through 3 and 4, makes the move for second. Levy gets loose trying to get around the corner. Matthew Nordberg's going to follow him through. Rough corner there for Connor Levy, going from P2 to P4. And now Matthew Nordberg has his sights set on Andrew Williams, knowing that car has less damage than Williams probably after a couple of the shots to the wall that Williams has taken. Matthew Norberg just driving a very safe, very clean, and very quick race at the moment, has found himself up into P3. As right now, Jason Wallet and Jeremy Millerin side by side diving into 3 and 4.
Yeah, as they go into 3 and 4, Jason Wallet in oh man, where did he go? P7.
10, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's in P7. P7, the 76, from Jackson University, is under kind of a bit of pressure here from Edwin Onofre as Jason tries to kind of track down Muhammad Alif. But Edwin Onofre is really sniffing at the back bumper of Jason Wallet, trying to make that move as Santiago Tires and Jeremy Miller and kind of fight each other in the background, trying to make a move for that top 10 position.
Santiago Therez's slow ascent back to the front of the field continues, much like Muhammad Ali. Last time we checked up on him, he was plus 26. I believe that number is a bit closer to 30 now, as 29 spots up from where he started today. He currently finds himself in the 9th position and has the opportunity to get a whole lot more, as everyone from 4th on back is directly in front of him here. Muhammad Ali right on the bumper of Athena Leclerc. Both of these cars trying to find a way behind around Connor Levy, who's hit the wall a couple of times. And speaking of in the wall, Jason Wallet hit the wall there. Edwin Onofre goes low. There is just a whole lot of action trying to cover in this whole battle in the middle of the top 10. I mean, there is all sorts of things going on, as we cannot be too far now from green flag pit stops.
Yeah, as we actually just passed the halfway point of this race. We're in the lap 76 of 150 as we watch Jason Wallet continue on trying to track down our Muhammad Ali. But yeah, we just passed it. And yeah, I'm shocked that actually there hasn't been green flag pit stops. I think we're on lap about 40 since then, since those pit stops. So these drivers are, I think, struggling a bit. As you can see, each lap they get closer and closer to the wall until they hit it. And so I wouldn't be shocked. Again, there's no way they can go 10 more laps with these tires. They have to have green flag pit stops soon. Actually, I think as we see Connor Levy coming into the pit. No, that was not Connor Levy. Coming into the pit. Someone is going into the pits, though, I think, starting those green flag pit stops.
That is his teammate, Gareth Vatan, out of Arizona State. So right school there, Christian. But Connor Levy still trying to muscle it out in currently the 4th position, but he is having his hands full right now with those absolutely shredded tires as Therez gets around Jason Wallet. He's up to P7, and now our 2 biggest movers are going to be fighting themselves for P6. It is Muhammad Ali in that 12 car out of Ball State, Santiago Therez in the 117 out of UNC Charlotte, and it's Jason Wallet behind them. Athena Leclerc ahead of this whole bunch here. This is for the 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th and 9th positions, actually, is Connor Levy starting to finally get some distance from the group behind, but is a 5-car battle for the middle of this top 10. Therez looks low, thinks about it, and then slides back up behind Muhammad Ali. The time was not right just yet, as these guys are single file here as we are approaching lap 80 of this race. We are over the halfway point.
Yeah, definitely as we approach lap 80. I think Garrett Vitan. Wow, that's that name. I think he's trying to kind of get a bit of a play here for Connor Levy. Maybe trying to see what's the play like with the tires. Should I do undercut? Should I do an overcut? How does this play into the tire game? And I think that's what they're trying to do. Is I think they're really trying to go for
someone is around
strategy.
That was, and the caution is out. This is going to be it's going to save a lot of people. Jeremy Miller, though, already on pit road. So we'll have to see if that traps him a lap down or if he's going to move up to the front of the field. It depends on where the pace car is going to be and where the leaders were as this stop happens. But that was Michael Sidor, who we saw around on the front stretch. We'll have to take a look at the replay and see what happened.
Yeah, that was definitely, and that's, I want to say that's bad luck for Garrett Vitan there, because he just pit literally two laps beforehand. So I guess we're going to see the entirety of the field go in for those tires there as they try to use up their second set of those 4 set of tires that they have allocated this race.
Yeah, this is a good time for it after they put about 40 green flag laps or so on those tires. So we're seeing everyone come on down the pit road. We'll have to see who is going to get into their box cleanly. Because if someone were to pass Robbie Vrabel Jr. coming off a pit road, it could be an interesting scenario because Vrabel has not had to really deal with a ton of challenges since getting past Connor Levy around lap 16 or so. So that could really shake up the field if someone's able to beat him off pit road. But he looks like he got into his box cleanly. So we'll have to see if anyone does something crazy on pit exit here.
Yeah, just after this pit stop, we're going to see, Andrew Williams, is he going to be the first one out of the pits?
Oh, it's going to be close. I don't know who got it. We'll have to see the official
That's
timing.
Robbie
It looks like it
Vrabel, I
might
think.
be. It might be
Oh,
Andrew Williams. Williams
did Andrew
looks like
get
he's going
that?
ahead.
I don't know what's
Nordberg's
happening with.
also going in
I was
ahead,
gonna say
so-
Robbie's kind of sitting back right here. I'm not really sure what happened.
Oh, that would be devastating if that is true. Just heard from producer Scott. It is believed that Robbie Vrabel may have gotten a speeding penalty on pit road, which this late into the race could be a bit tough. I mean, there's still a lot of race to go, but not nearly as much as when he took the lead at the start of this event. So if he did end up getting that penalty, that will be a huge shakeup at the front of the running order.
Didn't go into the pits.
So here is the caution. We are on board here with Michael Sidor out of the Penn College of Technology. He was running around 13th or 14th at the time. So we see Millerin goes in the pit, and no one's near the 46, and he just gets loose and then overcorrects into the wall. Oh, and he gets his teammate in Austin DeLong.
Oh,
That's
no.
a tough break for the Penn College of Technology. Man, that is two of their three cars in a tough spot in a matter of seconds.
Yeah.
And with Dylan Godinez also having a bit of a rough night in that 808 car, it looks like things are not going the Penn College of Technology's way right about now.
It's going to be a fun night in the debriefing room for those two. That is not what you want. That is not what you want to do. If you're going to hit anyone on the track, I think that's the person you want to hit the least. It's going to be your teammate or one of your teammates there. So definitely an unfortunate, outcome for the University of,
Penn College of Technology.
Penn College, thank you. I was like Penn State, no. Penn University, no.
You'll be shocked the amount of times I've had to look at that and I've gone, Penn Tech, yeah. For whatever reason, PCT just doesn't roll off the tongue in my head.
Listen here, Pennsylvania. You have too many colleges. you need to limit your amount of colleges you're allowed to have.
See, now I feel like I have to fight you because I went to a school in PA. I feel like that was the cue for me to try and be like, all right,
that's okay. Oh, we have the lights out on the pace car as we come around the back straight.
Yeah, we will be going back green this time by. It is Andrew Williams and Matthew Nordberg, 1 and 2. We will not see any Robbie Vrabel Jr. up front. He did indeed get a penalty, so he is shuffled back toward the back of the pack here. He'll have a lot of work to do to get back up front. It'll be Williams, Nordberg, Levy and Therese, row 2, Leclerc and Wallet, row 3, Alif and Onofre, row 4, and DeWale and Robb, row 5. So still a lot of really fast cars up in the top 10, just not the one that has maybe been the fastest so far tonight. As the pace car is off, we are just about ready to go as they are coming around through turn 4, and we will see when they hit the jump here to go roaring into turn 1.
Yeah, as we can see, the green flag flies just about now as Andrew Williams gets a phenomenal start off the launch there. As he's going up, he gets onto the top line, trying to block off any other move from that top line there of Matthew Nordberg, Connor Levy, or Santiago Tires there. Trying to get that head start. He has about a 3-4 second gap, 3-4 car gap from those drivers there. So he's trying to make his way up front, as we can see further back.
Yeah, Jeremy Millerin has been up, down, and all around on the opening lap of this restart. He took the wave around to get back onto the lead lap from the pitting right before the caution. But then he got shuffled real low in 1 and 2. He gets way low off of 3 and 4, and he is just trying to carve up the back of this field here. As right now he is working alongside Michael Sidor, and right ahead of them is Jared Kaler. So reigning alumni champ and reigning series champ nose to tail right now, back in the 20th and 20, or he's 20th, but it looks like Kaler's actually a lap down still. He's back in 24th. Either way, there is still plenty of action up front, as right now it is Matthew Nordberg sitting in second, trying to find a way to get around the 23 car of Andrew Williams. Williams, without Robbie Vrabel Jr. In his windshield, now all of a sudden has a lot of open road and some room to operate on the defensive against that 076 car out of NC State.
Yeah, Matthew Nordberg, definitely a pretty talented driver for NC State in the 076 machine. Definitely making his way through already made his way through the pack, and now he's sitting P2, chasing down Andrew Williams. Andrew Williams in that P1 spot, and his dream spot right now, if he could hold on to this, for the next, let's say 70 laps, 60 laps, 62 laps actually to be precise. So if he can hold on to that for the next 62 laps, his CIL dreams will come true. He will win a CIL thing, but again, he has to hold on that again for that magical number of 62 more laps. Will that happen? Who knows? We'll see. It'll be a interesting journey.
Yeah, coming into this season, Andrew Williams had 24 career starts, 14 of which in the top 10, 5 of which in the top 5, but none of which ended in a victory. And, this is race 6 of the season, so this is his 30th CIL start. Still looking for that elusive win number 1. He has been one of the front runners a number of seasons. He finished 3rd in the points last year, but still trying to find a way to clinch that first ever victory. And Matthew Nordberg, who's right behind him, he's honestly got a relatively similar record. I mean, Nordberg entering this season, 32 wins, no career CIL victories, unless there was one in season 1 that I was not able to find back in the old archive machine. So with that being said, these are 2 long-standing veterans of the series with a lot of speed, but still looking to break through for elusive win number 1.
Yeah, they're always trying to look for that elusive win number 1. I mean, everyone in this league just kind of, if you haven't got a win, that's exactly what you want. If you already had a win, might as well get another one. So, definitely looking for those kind of wins, and especially points, because right now with how everything stands in the overall championship, Andrew Williams, I mean, if he gets that point, he's automatically into our playoffs later in the season. But additionally, it will boost him up significantly in those points, where exactly where he wants to be, so where he can fight for that championship at the end of the season.
No, you make a great point as far as locking into the playoffs. This is the first year that the CIL Cup Series is using a structure similar to the NASCAR Cup Series as far as the playoff bracket, where if you win, you're in. So that not only would be their first career win, but also locks you in to the CIL Cup Series playoffs, which will begin about a month from now. There's a 10-race regular season, of which we're in race 6 already. And then, a 4-race playoff of the round of 10 for 3 races, and then the championship race at the end of the year. But still plenty of racing to go here, as right now we are on board with Muhammad Alif, who is still hanging around in the middle of the top 10. And Santiago Perez has got a host of hungry cars behind him. I think that's Leclerc, Rob, and Wallet all directly nose to tail behind, as now Rob tries to make the move on Leclerc for, but I want to say that's 8th or 9th. Oh, and 6th. I undershot or overshot a little bit. So this is an even more pivotal battle then. Just outside the top 5, Perez is running P5. So now Rob moves up into P6, looking to crack the top 5 here now behind Perez, as he pulls right up to the bumper of the 117 car. Now Leclerc with a great run that gets blocked off by the 5. This is a battle of surges, as now the caution is out for the 4th time here this evening. Let's see if we can find what happened. That is, Robbie Vrabel, the man with the most laps led. That wheel's not moving. Something has gone horribly wrong for the 075 out of St. Clair College.
I don't think that wheel's supposed to be like that.
I think you might be right.
That's not looking good there for him. And as we do not have, I think that's a snapped axle we have there. And as we don't have any of those magical fast repairs, that may be the end of, definitely going to be end of Robbie Vrabel Jr.'s race, at least for competition-wise, unless he can get that maybe fixed in a quick shimmy, but it'll be a few minutes, so he'll definitely going to lose out on some points there. As we can see the replay here for what happens going on with him. Let's watch as we ride along, actually, with Matthew Burton, who's right next to him.
Yeah, I'll say the car directly behind him is the 075 of Vrabel. Vrabel, tried making the move, and then just, a bit of a late-timed block, and this is a much bigger crash than at first thought. Ooh. There is so many cars collected in this. Last week's winner in Clint Halterman, I saw Nick Stockner was around. We're going to have to look at that replay a couple of times, because it looked like a lot of cars got involved in that one. We only saw Vrabel at the start, but there was at least 5 cars that got caught up in that one.
Yeah, that was
Nick Stockner.
Rough.
Stockner running directly behind the 2 cars at the start of this here. And there's nowhere for the 124 to go, and he makes heavy contact with the outside wall. That Kyle Petty throwback, seeing better days, as he was one of the several cars involved in that one. Clint Halterman, who won last week, he got caught up in that one at the end. That that's a tough break involved. I mean, it's just a little bit too late of a timed block, and it causes chaos behind. As we were taking a look here with Clint Halterman, who was a little farther back, who was coming up toward this wreck, and as you can see, cars scattering in front of him, and he just tried getting down and ends up Beyblading Robbie Vrabel. Heavy front contact there. Alexander Hogarth involved as well. Looks like a couple of the St. Clair guys with a bit of a rough break in that one. But a lot of good cars caught up in that wreck, Christian. And with Robbie Vrabel, more or less, his day's probably done given the scale of that damage and with there being no fast repair, which all of a sudden opens the door for some of these guys who are still at the front of the field to really... I'm sure if you're some of these guys running in the top 5 right now, you think, oh, the biggest guy so far through the first 97 laps, he isn't going to be the one at the end. It could be me now.
Yeah, that. I think that crash took out quite a few drivers there. I think we're gonna no longer see Robbie Vrabel Jr. on the track. I don't think Nick Stockner, I think, is done. I think Alexander Hogarth is still on the track. Luckily, he might have quite a bit of damage though, so I don't expect him to be competitive. We'll have to see if they were able to get his car kind of fixed up there. But that was definitely maybe the big one for tonight so far. As we head into our 98th lap here in our 4th caution. That was a rough one.
That certainly was a rough one, but I mean, I think, only 4 cautions through the opening 97, 98 laps here has been a pretty decent bit of green flag racing for us to watch and enjoy so far, and hopefully we get to see some more of it in the final third, if you will, given that we're just about at the 2/3 mark of this race. I think one of the other cars, like Hogarth, who will have some damage, but will probably be able to keep it on track and keep running, is going to be Matthew Burton out of East Tennessee State, who was one of the 2 cars in the initial point of contact. There we see that 31 car out of East Tennessee State, who looks like everyone pit except for Michael Sidor and Matthew Burton. So 2 cars who have been involved in wrecks in the past 2 cautions will lead the field to green ahead of the leaders. Great strategy for these 2 guys trying to maybe get some track position, but also if you're the leaders, I mean, all of a sudden that's a bit of a... You see that and the alarms go off in the back of your mind, like, oh, I gotta be careful here trying to make my way back to the front, because you probably have more speed than the guys on older tires. But this is not an easy place to pass, so...
Yeah, definitely not an easy place to pass. As we come here, I believe, for the green flag with Michael Sidor and Matthew Burton leading the way. As the green flag drops, you can see Michael Sidor get away really quickly.
Yeah, but on those fresher tires, Williams stayed right with him already on the inside of the 31. Now on the inside of the 46, he's going to pick them both off through the opening corner, and that's going to give him a huge advantage over Matthew Nordberg, who's going to have to find a way around these guys, as well as Connor Levy and Muhammad Alif. There is a bottleneck right there around the 5th position, as now Levy and Muhammad Alif get by. Athena Leclerc's trying to find their way through. So is Zach DeWale. So is Jason Wallet. Michael Sidor, over the course of 1 lap, dropped from 1st back to around the end of the top 10. Matthew Burton has done a bit of a better job holding on to their position. They're still running up in, I believe, P2. I think they've only dropped the 1 spot to Williams, but because of it, Williams has checked out as Burton clips the wall a little bit there. Nordberg going to fly up on the outside, trying to make the move. He's in the wall, and then they make contact. That's getting a little dicey up there for 2nd. Nordberg trying to get by, and eventually he does. Now Connor Levy following suit. He's in the wall as well. Not nearly enough track for all these guys at the moment as people keep clipping that outside wall. Matthew Burton fighting for his life right now, trying to hold on to that top 5 position as now he falls back toward Muhammad Alif, who dives to the inside going into 3, trying to make the move.
Yeah, it was definitely some tight racing going on there, and I think one or 2 of these drivers may need a new pair of pants based on that, because that was pretty sketchy there, bouncing around between each other, playing like a pinball, but as we can see, we're watching Athena Leclerc from St. Clair College in the number 61 machine almost hit the wall, getting real close up there, followed by Zachary DeWale.
Burton threw quite the block there going in the one. I don't think Leclerc was expecting that avenue to get blocked off, and both of them she had to check up a little bit, caused Burton to pull away for a moment, and now Leclerc back to the inside of the 31, trying to make the move and nearly makes contact with their teammate in Zach DeWale. Now it's Jason Wallet, the big winner of that, getting by both the St. Clair cars. And now it'll be his turn to attack the 31 to Matthew Burton. Everyone trying to break their way back into the top 5 here. They just have to find their way around this East Tennessee State machine.
Oh, yeah, definitely throwing some massive blocks there. And Matthew Burton doing a phenomenal job at blocking. Definitely some scary ones there. Good on Jason Wallet for not just, smashing into the back of him, because that's what we've seen every once in a while. Some of these blocks here, especially down at Darlington, as Jason tries to make the move down low on Matthew Burton. Matthew Burton on those older tires, and he's able to make the move stick with actually a pretty nice gap in between him. Though the St. Clair drivers right on the back of Burton now, trying to follow up.
It is Matthew Burton definitely not making any friends with some of the late blocks there, but he's doing a great job as far as playing defense. And there's contact there. He's in the wall. He got loose off of 4. Leclerc takes some damage. Zach DeWale, the big winner there, is going to get by both of them as he dives into turn 1, slides up in front of their teammate. Now Edwin Onofre's on the side of the 31. Everyone now in the final stage of this race has decided it is go time. The time for patience is over, and there is starting to get a little bit of physicality out there between these drivers.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's not helping that Matthew Burton did not come in for tires, and I think he's definitely feeling the wrath of those tired and really ripped up tires. We're going to see a bit of a replay here, as we can see exactly what happened with Athena getting actually kind of making it out pretty well. They kind of bounced off each other. Matthew Burton got shoved into the wall, and all drivers, except for Matthew, kind of made it out pretty okay from that.
Yeah, so now Williams gets around the lap car. I want to say that's Alexander Hogarth in 20. And now with only 43, 44 laps to go, all the cars back up in the top 5 are on the lead lap. As that was a scary moment there. Hogarth going slow on the bottom, ends up checking up Nordberg big time. Levy flies on by. Nordberg ends up blocking off Alif and Wallet back and forth in 5th. But all of that momentum he had chasing down Andrew Williams was gone in a flash as Hogarth was really slow on the inside. Now Connor Levy cycles back to P2 and will have an opportunity to try and chase down Andrew Williams. But right now the battle is on for 3rd, 4th, and 5th between Nordberg, Alif, and Wallet.
Yeah, if Nordberg didn't need a new pair of pants from that previous incident, he definitely needs one after that, because let me just say that was also a rough one. I mean, that showed true, just confidence and control of your car, because that was a rough situation, and depending on all the drivers, that may not have went as well as it did right then and there.
Yeah, I know if that was me behind the wheel, that would not have gone as well as it did. I'll just be entirely honest.
I would be on my roof.
The battle right now continuing for 4th. Jason Wallet all over the back of that number 12 out of Ball State. Is right now we are taking a look with Edwin Onofre trying to get his way by the 31. 31 has done a really good job on those older tires defending. Now it looks like we'll finally have to concede this position to the 99 if it can get a good run off the corner. Oh, and the 31 really loose off the corner. Jeremy Miller's going to get by. Looks like Santiago Perez is also going to be trying to make the move going into 1 and 2. That is Andrew McCall. My apologies. Shout out to Andrew McCall, the other Purdue driver, having himself quite the evening here. He's come on strong as of late and now finds himself in the top 10.
Yeah, Andrew McCall, pretty good driver as well. He was one of the drivers I was fighting with pretty hard at back there in Watkins Glen last week. So definitely a good driver in the alumni class from Purdue. So it's definitely someone to keep an eye out for as well. Pretty feisty. But as we focus now on Jacob Weist, who's trying to chase him down and right on the bumper of him, trying to make his move, trying to calculate it and see what he can do.
And this is the battle for the 10th position. This is McCall in 10th, Jacob Weist in 11th, as we see Stockner slow on the inside there, who's had himself just a bit of a rough evening here, getting caught up in stuff that really wasn't in his control. But right now, Andrew McCall with his hands full, Jacob Weist all over the back of him as they go over the starting line. He'll dive to the inside trying to make the move. Santiago Therese also trying to get his way back forward. Weist will make the move on McCall, and now it is a matter really of if he can hold on to these positions coming behind him, because there is a train of cars coming toward him. And now taking a look at the two St. Clair cars running 6th and 7th, and Zach DeWell and Nathaniel Leclerc, they're just kind of sticking in line here, trying to help each other out in the draft maybe a little bit, trying to catch up to the rest of the top 5.
Yeah, trying to catch up to the rest of the top 5 as they pass the start-finish line there for lap 113 as we complete 3/4 of this race. So we have just a quarter left of this race on lap 113 out of 150 of the CIL Southern 200 here at Darlington, with our throwback theme for this Monday night's race here, as we can focus back on Matthew Norberg in that P3 position, trying to chase down Connor Levy and Andrew Williams, trying to maybe hopefully hold on to that podium spot. As we can see, actually Connor Levy just scraping the wall as Matthew Norberg gets closer and closer, trying to get that that second place position.
Matthew Nordberg was in second, got caught up behind lap traffic, fell way back, but over the past few laps here has really just systematically reeled in Connor Levy here for second. Andrew Williams is up 2 seconds over Connor Levy here, so he is checked out from the rest of the field. The battle really is between second, third, and fourth, as right now it is Nordberg and Alif trying to chase down Connor Levy, trying to find themselves, if you're Alif, onto the podium, and if you're Nordberg, into a position to chase down Andrew Williams. But as time is starting to wind down here, what do you think, Reg? You think they probably would need to come in one more time for tires? I mean, you might be able to stretch it to the end as they pit on lap 97 or so, but I feel like that's a bit long.
Yeah, I was thinking about that about 10 laps ago. I was wondering, I was like, how much longer? Because, I'm starting to get into that mindset where it's like, I don't want to talk about Andrew Williams or even kind of say his name because I don't want to jinx it. I don't want to have commentators curse or anything like that. That seems to be my mojo and thing like that. So I'm just going to, I don't want to look at him. But yeah, I really hope he gets his first win here. He's doing really well. He's kind of just driving at home.
Boy, you nearly sent that immediately. Ethan Head was sideways off of 4, and I saw it flash in front of my eyes as you mentioned it. That would have... I'm sorry. I don't think I can ever let you forget that moment if that happened.
I'm playing with fire here.
Yeah, luckily everyone gets out of that okay. Ethan Head obviously losing a bit of positions, but keeps it off the wall, so everyone's good there. But yeah, with 33, 34 laps to go right now, Nordberg starting to fade off the back of Connor Levy a little bit. Levy seems to be really loose coming off of these corners. I think he's carrying a little more speed than the 076, but at the price of it, he gets the occasional wall tap. There is a really nice run by Nordberg, going to pull him a lot closer going into 3 and 4. Both of these guys still fighting about 2 seconds behind our leader, though, Andrew Williams. So if either one of them is going to make a move for the lead here and there's no more cautions, it might be go time soon. As Nordberg's in the wall, he got a little loose off of 4, and that's going to make a bigger gap as Connor Levy starts to pull about 5 car lengths ahead of Matthew Nordberg.
Yeah, he definitely got into the wall, and now Muhammad Alif is kind of thinking, maybe this is my time to shine. Maybe, this is my time to get a position here as he's trying to follow Matthew Nordberg. Is Matthew Nordberg trying to break that draft a little bit as you kind of see him drift a little bit left and then back right. He's trying to break that draft, not let it up, but Muhammad Alif is not letting that affect him as he is pushing hard up. So he's closing that gap to about a car and a half length, about a car length now, as we can go into turns 1 and 2 here.
Nordberg really starting to push that car, trying to stay ahead of the 12. You can kind of see him getting a little sideways off each of these corners as he's really forcing it through the sides here. Muhammad Alif just kind of laying in wait, trying to make his move at the right time. But you can't wait too long before you start running out of time, as he had a great run through the corner there, but it got blocked off by that NC State machine. And now he'll have to regroup and try again. He has got the speed to get it done. He just has to wait for the moment. And right now, Matthew Nordberg doing a great job on the defensive as that 12 car has been all over the back of him. And then he gets a little sideways off of 2. He'll lose out to not only Muhammad Alif, but also Jason Wallet in 5th. He'll regroup in that P5 spot. Wallet up to 4th. Alif up to 3rd. And now it is Zach DeWale trying to fight his way into the top 5 as he closes up to the bumper of that 076 car.
Yeah, Matthew Norberg in that 076 car from NECC is definitely having a rough time right now. He is struggling on those tires. I think, what's going through his mind right now is like, are we going for this? Because obviously you don't want to pit alone. So you go with the rest of the field. You kind of group in, and he's trying to think like right now, he's like, hey man, I would love either a caution right now, or I'd love for people to start doing some green flag pit stops, because I think he's struggling on those tires. He's making them, they're having a rough day. That's all I could say.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, though, still holding on to P5. He seems to have stabilized the drop for a little bit here as he's trying to hold on to a top 5 finish, and maybe more if he has an opportunity to get back closer to the front of the field. But Zach DeWale, who did win this race a year ago, all over the back of him, despite winning last year, he's been good, but he hasn't been like a front-running factor all day, but this is probably about as close as he's been, so if he finds a way around Nordberg, he'll be in the top 5 with the opportunity of maybe charging down Muhammad Alif and Jason Wallet, as these two cars are also, not only are they battling, but Alif and Wallet are also battling for that 3rd and 4th position just ahead of them. It looks like Nordberg clipped the wall a little bit there. DeWale might try and use this opportunity to make a run in the 3 and 4. He'll have to check up a little bit against it just because it was not going to be a good angle for either of them to enter. Nordberg really slowed through the corner. DeWale closes right back up, but does not have the room to make the pass, and that is what makes Darlington so difficult. It's because just when you think you have the run, there's nowhere really to go with it.
Yeah, definitely, indeed. I mean, so you get up to some pretty quick speeds around here as well. I mean, it may seem like a short track, a small track. Oh, as Matthew Norberg gets on the wall again, and really struggling on those tires. Yeah, he's having some difficult time. They're going much slower than they were in the beginning. Like I said, or like I was starting to say, is they get up to some pretty high speeds in the beginning. 180, 182 miles an hour is about their top speed.
The caution is out.
Oh.
This could be the money stop for a lot of teams, as Alexander Hogarth was around and now towed back to pit lane. If there is one person who I'm sure did not want to see that, it was the leader Andrew Williams, who had moved out to about a 2.5 second lead over second place Connor Levy. And now with everyone coming down pit road, not only is that going to restack the field, but I'd imagine it's going to be an opportunity for final stops to make sure you're good on fuel, maybe get your last set of fresh tires, and see this one through to the end.
Yeah, I don't know how I'd be feeling if I was Andrew Williams right now, because on one hand, yeah, I mean, you had that 2.5 second, 3 second gap on the people behind you, but also I know for a fact that he was definitely struggling on tires. Everyone was struggling on tires here, unless you made some exact plans to kind of save them and stuff. I know for one person, Matthew Norberg is going to be the happiest man on earth right now trying to get new tires.
That is a man who is probably very happy with that outcome. Looks like Wallet already diving down to pit lane. Oh, it looks like a lot of them might be staying out. Nope, they're coming in. Wallet just went down really early and was seeing if anyone was going to fake it, but no one does. The leaders all coming down the pit road. Doesn't look like everyone is, but that might just be some wave around cars toward the back of the field. So this is the time where you have to be perfect on pit road. Perfect entry, perfect exit. You can't be like the 075 earlier with the speeding penalty, because with only 25 laps to go, that will kill the rest of your night.
Yeah, this is the money stop right here. You got to hit every mark perfectly. Andrew? Oh,
he is.
I thought Williams was out of his box. That was real close. He's on that line. I was just told that the lines are not accurate.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm looking like Athena Leclerc was like splitting the boxes,
Yeah.
but was still pit. I'm like, all right, I guess that's fine. Either way, it looks like he hit his marks cleanly. He will get away P1. Levy's second. Jason Wallet moves up to third. Muhammad Ali fourth. Nordberg retains his 5th place position, but now on fresher tires, he should be able to make his charge back toward the front. But the big winner on pit road there, obviously Andrew Williams for holding on the first. And then Jason Wallet moving up from 4th to 3rd, getting him that much closer to the leaders. So now we'll take a replay to see what the caution was. We're on board with Muhammad Alif. Oh, nope, it is back in the field with Alexander Hogarth, who he was already... Oh, and just gets hammered by the Robert Morris University car, Treston Yoder. He had nowhere to go. What happened to the 20? I mean, it looked like even from the start of that clip, he was already well out of sorts.
But yeah, I think he just coming off pit road. He's on cold tires, not really used to it. He's been on, these super old tires for a long time, and just gotta get a little happy. Yeah, he got a little happy on the throttle, started going, overcorrected, and slammed into the wall.
That's a tough break for both of those guys. I mean, Hogarth, he just came in for fresh tires and then spins out like that. And then for Treston Yoder, I mean, it hasn't I wouldn't say he's had necessarily a great night thus far, but, that's certainly not going to help it when a car just flies out of pit road and spins directly in front of you. I mean, there's nowhere really to go at that point. So tough break for those guys. But, hey, producer Scott, did Jeremy Miller stay out?
Yeah,
okay, so him and Ethan are
going to.
Okay, I couldn't remember where Millerin was running, so I wasn't sure if he was in wave around territory or just staying out territory. But that means both. Gotcha. Okay. Ouch. That is a rough go for them, 3 laps down. So it will be when this all cycles through. Andrew Williams on the inside, Connor Levy on the outside, Jason Wallet, and R. Muhammad Alif behind them. To my understanding, none of these guys have won a CIL Cup Series race. R. Muhammad Alif has had a number of bit of success in the old GT3 Series and the Formula C Series. Jason Wallet won Daytona. Silly me. Ignore me. But I don't think the front row has won, to my knowledge. Let me take
no,
a
the
look
top row,
here.
I don't... I want to say Connor Levy won a race last year.
He might have gotten one of the prospect ones. My sheet doesn't have him as winning a feature race, but he might have gotten one of the prospect ones.
Okay, I think he was up in the fight. There was a race I ran last year that was one of the Premier Series, and I could have sworn he was he won, but maybe he was P2 or P3. So apologies about that.
Hey, no worries. Like I said, my reference point is just what I've pulled from watching previous races. So I could be right, I could be wrong, because I didn't add in all the prospect stuff as well. I just tried doing the Premier stuff from last year. But the lights are out on the pace car. It is coming down pit road, and when we go green, it could be the final restart of the evening. Andrew Williams, Connor Levy. Who is it gonna be as they come to the Geico restart zone? Barney puts the flag in the air, and they come roaring down the turn 1. Another great jump.
Yeah, he's definitely he's going to be super happy about that jump that gives him about half a second, 3/10 of a second in front of the guys behind him. And so they're actually going to be fighting right now. So Jason Wallet, as he actually gets a nice bump there from R. Muhammad Alif, leaving Jason Wallet in there in the dust. Matthew Norberg kind of slides by as well, taking that 4th place position. But Andrew Williams taking that gap to over 0.6 of a second there. I think he's going to be super happy with that restart and how everything went. I think he's, I'm just going to stop talking. I'm not going to say anymore. That's it.
So right now we are side by side. It is Jason Wallet and Santiago Perez battling right around the 5th position. It's the battle for Tim Robb also in that. Santiago Perez in the wall a little bit. He's going to lose a bit of speed. Wallet makes the move. Athena Leclerc trying to jump to the inside of Tim Robb and now is battling with Edwin Onofre. Things are fast and hectic here as there is only 19 laps to go. Williams with the slight lead over Levy, then R. Muhammad Alif, and then Matthew Nordberg. Right now, Tim Robb trying to find his way around the 2-time winner this season, Santiago Perez, in that throwback to Tim Richmond, as they come through 1 and 2 with only 18 laps to go.
Yeah, as we see...
R. Muhammad Alif, Matthew Nordberg have just run their fastest laps of the race. They're currently running P3 and P4, so they are really sending it now. Nordberg may be sending it a little too much. I saw him clip the wall there off of 4, and now Jason Wallet all over the back of him. R. Muhammad Alif clips the wall there in 1 and 2. So these guys are moving so fast. They're starting to get a little too far outside as a nice exit from Connor Levy is going to pull him ever so closer to the back of that 23 car. With only 17 laps to go now, Connor Levy is trying to get into position to make his move for the lead. He was the pole sitter. Can he get back to first place and close this one out the way he started it?
Yeah, he's about half a second behind Andrew Williams there, so I don't think he's not in that draft just yet. He's coming closer and closer every lap there, but he's definitely going to end up burning up his tires, I think, a lot faster than Andrew Williams there. So it's definitely going to come down to the wire, I think, as he ever so comes closer, like I said. But it's gonna be a fight to the finish. I mean, we have 16 laps to go on the CIL Southern 200 as we cross the finish line there, with 15 laps to go now, and we're gonna have a race to the end. This is gonna be a real good one.
Connor Levy has looked really good coming off of turn 2 these past couple laps. He gets really up to that wall, gets him a little extra runoff compared to Williams, and he gets a little closer every single time, as right now Therese is all over the back of Jason Wallet for 5th. He's got Tim Robb now looking to the outside. Therese is trying to be on the attack and the defensive at the same time, as he's now closing up on Wallet and Nordberg. These guys nose to tail, 4 cars deep as they fly through turns 1 and turn 2. Wallet clips the wall a little bit. It'll pull Therese right back up to the back end of it. And all 4 of these guys trying to find a way to make the move around and get a little farther up into the top 5, maybe into a podium spot, as this is the battle for 4th through 7th, 8th, if you want to account for the St. Clair car behind them. And I want to say that is Athena Leclerc.
Yeah, if you're Tim Robb or Athena Leclerc, I believe you're in some rough spots there, because no matter where you are on the track, you're in some dirty air, and that's definitely hard to compete with, because you're going to end up sliding up into the wall no matter where you are if you try a little too hard. So you definitely have to kind of feather your pedal and get your line almost exact. Try to figure out exactly who you want to follow. It's going to be it'll be rough for them to make any type of move there, as long as the other racers don't make any mistakes.
Yeah, so this battle rages on, as now there is only 12 laps to go. Connor Levy was before entering turn 1 there, kind of right toward the back bumper of Andrew Williams. He continues to get really good runs down the straightaway, and then just is having not as good of a time on corner entry, but he's getting much better corner exit, which is keeping him in it at the moment. Running that bit of an inside line compared to Williams, trying to pull in, and you can see the relative lap times. For the most part, he's getting a little bit closer. And that time around, 2/100ths slower than Andrew Williams. But in the grand scheme of things, given how the last few laps have gone, he's more or less just holding his pace, and he's now directly behind the leader. As they come to the stripe, it'll be 10 to go. The battle between Arizona State and Clemson. Both of these guys looking to make something happen. This is gonna get crazy.
Oh, it's getting good. I'm starting to get in my antsy mode right now, where I'm moving around in my chair. I'm bouncing my knee. I'm almost about to stand up.
This is the excitement that people have tuned in for, and this is going to be quite the battle to the finish. We got treated to an absolutely spectacular battle at the end of Watkins Glen last week. Looks like Darlington's shaping up to be the same way, as now Levy looks to the inside for a moment, decides that he isn't able to make the move just yet, but he is directly in the tire tracks of the 23 car. Andrew Williams, 9 laps from victory lane, trying to find a way to hold on to it, as that 14 car has continued to claw ever so closer, and now the pole sitter dives to the inside. He's trying to make the move. They might be side by side as they go into 3. Williams gets a little farther ahead, but now Levy's charging back to the inside. They are side by side. They touch!
Andrew
They
Williams.
are sideways. No, they keep it forward.
No! Oh, Andrew Williams
Oh,
is a little
now
loose.
Williams sideways. It was in the wall. He wasn't able to keep it forward. Caution does not fly. Absolute devastation for the driver of the number 23 car. He had put together such a strong race, and now with only 8 laps to go, his hopes of his first CIL victory dashed in front of our eyes.
Oh man, that was rough. That was tight racing. That was close racing. Rubbing his racing, I guess that's what you can say. I'm not really sure how the stewards are going to be looking at that one. I don't really think there's anything in contention there. I don't think there was any dirty play. I think it was just close racing, tight-knit racing, and it just happened to kind of end not too well for Andrew Williams, as he got a little bit loose there, unfortunately. That's kind of how it happens. We'll have to see what the stewards say, but I don't think there's going to be any type of contention there at all.
Yeah, probably a racing incident, but this race is not over yet. Our Muhammad Alif has burst onto the scene in a big way, and now the attacker becomes the defendee, as Levy is only a couple of car lengths ahead of our Muhammad Alif. the Ball State machine, the number 12, all of a sudden in contention really for the first time all day for the win. He's been hanging around the top 5 after starting 37th. He is up 35 positions, looking to add the last and most important one to it with only 6 laps to go. It is Arizona State and Ball State running 1-2 right now. Our Muhammad Alif only 2/10 off the back of that Sun Devils car.
Yeah, our Muhammad Alif definitely a big name here in CIL recently, as he was I believe this is his second season here with us at the CIL, and between these 2 seasons he's really made a name for himself. Just as he taps the wall there with Connor Levy, both of them together, he's really trying to get on the back there. I think he's about half a car's distance there. Oh, as he made a little bit of a gains a bit of distance there, gets a little loose on exit, but continues on. I think we still have 4 laps to go this time by, and we'll see what happens.
4 laps to go is right. Connor Levy trying to hold off the charging R. Muhammad Alif. Alif is really launching it through these corners. He keeps having to catch it out of the exits of the corners. Spencer Brown diving out of the way to let the leaders fight this out to the end. And we have ourselves a battle once again. They are going to come to the stripe. It is only going to be 3 laps to go. Both cars a little wiggly coming out of the corner. That gap is about as big as it's been the past 2 laps, and it's only 2 car lengths.
Yeah, and that keeps changing every so often. Connor Levy's really playing with fire there, getting really close to the wall. I'd say about a couple of inches away. Actually, as our Muhammad Alif gets a little bit of tap there on the exit of the wall. I think Connor Levy is a little bit loose in the corners, whereas our Muhammad Alif is a little loose on the exits there. Both definitely have different strategies in terms of how they take the corners as we go. 2 laps to go this time by, with Connor Levy P1, our Muhammad Alif P2, and Matthew Norberg P3.
This is the finish people have paid to come and see, and luckily, if you're watching on Twitch, you didn't even really have to pay. You're just getting this content for free, as with only 2 laps to go, Connor Levy continues to try and hold off these charging R. Muhammad Alif. R. Muhammad Alif now trying to the high side, trying to find some run down the front stretch. There is not too much time left. Only 1 car stands between them and the finish line as someone's spinning out behind him. Is Santiago Perez? He hit the wall hard, but battles continue up front. That is, I think it's Jeremy Millerin ahead of the leaders. Millerin in the wall, trying to get out of the way. Connor Levy down through 1 and 2. Here comes R. Muhammad Alif charging up to the back bumper. If he's going to make his move, now's the time. He looks to the inside on 3 and 4. They are side by side. They make contact. Levy's in the wall, but he keeps it forward. They are charging through 3 and 4. Sideways. Alif can't save it. They're sideways. They're going to run to the line. Who's it going to be? It's gonna be Connor Levy at the line!
Matthew Norberg sneaks in for P2.
Unbelievable. Darlington gives us a classic. Matthew Nordberg comes home P2. I gotta respect R. Muhammad Alif for... Oh, that's a heavy hit there. R. Muhammad Alif gave it his all through 3 and 4. They race the way you want to. Tough, but, relative... Oh, jeez, he just can't catch a break, man. Come on. Let the man celebrate.
Gosh. I think producer Scott here summed it up perfectly. What the expletive.
Yeah. What a finish. I mean... that's exactly what you want to see as far as it was only a racing deal. It wasn't like he torpedoed them into the corner. Both of those guys had a clean shot to try and win it. And in the end, Connor Levy and Arizona State hold on for one of the most dramatic finishes I have seen in the CIL. And I feel like I'm saying that week after week, Christian.
Yeah, I can't even... begin to fathom. My brain is still processing what just happened for the last turn, because honestly the last 2 turns, last lap or half lap, I don't even know what I'm saying right now. That was absolutely insane. The fact that Connor Levy, he still managed to get that after being spun out. Our Muhammad Alif losing out P3 to Matthew Norberg at P2, just getting that by fractions of a second is I'm lost for words.
Yeah,
Darlington gave us a race to remember.
What an absolutely unbelievable finish.
Have you ever?
No, I've never.
Have you ever?
Oh my God. So now I'm going to take a quick breath. And now I think it's time to start our little post-race interviews here. We do have one of our drivers ready. The second place finisher and also the most surprised member of the podium, given how things were going into turn 4. Yeah, let's start with Mr. Matthew Nordberg here out of NC State. I still need to figure out how to drag people in. But welcome to the booth, Matthew Nordberg, coming home, I think, P2. And what was a very entertaining finish. What did you see on that final lap from your perspective?
I mean, I was really coming off turn 4 in the last lap. The first thing I saw was Santi behind me getting loose off 4 and losing it. And then I knew I was in the clear to kind of just ride it out the last lap and maybe hope the two guys in front of me wrecked. And they did. I was just a bit too far back, burned up my tires just too much in that last stint. But I saw them get into the wall on turns 3 and 4, and I was hoping they'd wreck then and not down the front stretch where they could slide across the line. But I burst through a leaf at the end there to take second from them barely.
Yeah, that was about as close of a second place as they come, and it reminded me a little bit of the. Oh wow, we're looking at the finish on the screen here. You really did bumper car your way into a second place finish. That was impressive.
I mean, I saw them wrecking down on the apron, and I was like, I'm just gonna stick it at the wall. And then a leaf, last gasp, threw it up at the wall, maybe hoping to block me from getting second, or maybe hope I pushed them to second or something. But yeah, I think I get an extra shot here too. If you wait long enough in the replay, I'm gonna get a little love tap from behind.
Yeah, it looks like Tim Robb cue balls Edwin and Onofre into the back of you. But yeah, Christian, go ahead if you have any questions.
I'm again, like I said, I'm still processing. But point, I think I figured out 0.019 was the distance or the time gap between you and our Muhammad Ali finishing there. What a phenomenal race. I mean, it was a race of just absolute aggression, just persistence, words I can't even think of right now. But before that last caution there, you seemed to really be struggling on your tires. I think you're sliding around, hitting the wall. How were the tires this race? I mean, tires always a huge deal in these cup races. So kind of give us the rundown on tires.
I mean, yeah, I felt great really for the first maybe 100 laps of the race, and then the last third of the race, it started to fall apart a little bit. Really, the second to last restart, there were a couple cars in front of me who stayed out on old tires, got into a little bit of rubbing and got put into the wall by one of those cars, and then later on there was a lap car that was just slow right in the middle of the racing line, and I tried to avoid him, and I locked the tires, and that just kind of added to the problem that I was already burning them up a lot, getting into incidents that probably shouldn't be in. But yeah, I kind of just had to hold on for dear life there. Really, it was tight in and loose out, which is the absolute worst feeling in the world. But I managed, and things just kind of panned out for me.
Well, that it did. Solid P2 effort there. A really strong finish here today for you, Matthew. Before we let you go, any final thoughts on today's race or anyone you'd like to shout out?
No, just thank you guys for putting on a great show. Shout out to all the guys in the Orange Wheel Racing team, kind of talking through the race together, trying to strategize, working with some people to see who we can get into the better spots. And Darlington is not, I wouldn't call Darlington one of my best racetracks, but to come out of here with a P2, I'm pleasantly surprised.
Well, that is the words from Matthew Nordberg, our P2 finisher here tonight. In what was an absolutely incredible Darlington finish. Thank you for joining us, Matthew. And now, Producer Scott, I do believe it's time to talk with our third place finisher here, our Muhammad Ali, who really went for it at the end. So let's see if we can get him into the booth. I really got to learn how to do this.
Don't worry about it.
So we are here with our Muhammad Ali, our third place finisher, and the man who helped be one half of one of the best Darlington finishes I've ever seen. I guess the easiest thing I can ask you is what was going through your mind on that final corner? I mean, you went for it, you did exactly what you needed to do, and it just didn't quite work out the way you wanted, I guess.
I mean, I had to go for it, right? It's NASCAR, it's all racing. I got that great run out of two. I know Jeremy Millerin was kind of. I mean, he ended up also probably his tires were dead, but he Connor kind of caught him at the worst possible moment. And then I had a great slingshot. I could have had a better slingshot, but yeah, I just tried. I just sent it on the inside. But the difference in banking on the inside caught me out and uh, put me like quite loose. But yeah, I mean, I apologize to Connor for that contact, and yeah, still yeah, not bad. I started last, so bad last to almost.
Yeah, I mean, that was one heck of a charge going from 37th to what ultimately ended up third, but still a podium finish starting from the back of the field. An absolutely incredible drive for you today. What was it like flying through most of the field? I mean, you got to pass basically every car that was on track here tonight.
It was nerve-wracking. I mean, in probably I would you know, say that I purposely messed up my qualifying, but I actually did mess up my qualifying. It was a horrible lap, and then just slowly making my way through. I mean, seeing my teammates while I want to retire, I think I kind of knew what was going on with no fast repair and everything. So I was just keeping it clean, just playing it safe, and using my head to race a lot of the time until that last lap where I was like, nah, I gotta send.
Yeah, that send last lap was absolutely just phenomenal. I mean, I think you've definitely that's now one of the, I guess, most iconic, or I don't want to say iconic, but just craziest, most. I was standing up. I was screaming during the finish of that race. So, I mean, congratulations on P3, but also congratulations on making. I mean, it's such an amazing finish if you want to, count it for entertainment. But I mean, yeah, P37 to P3. I mean, you did 34 places. You're definitely the hard charger of tonight's race. So congratulations on that. I mean, you had an exceptional race under your belt tonight.
Thanks, Richard. Yeah, it was real fun. Yeah, the track it kind of made me frustrated a lot of time during practice, but I think it came I think it paid off right again with the driving, and I was able to find a good rhythm, especially out of two. A lot of people were kind of struggling to get the exit, so I could capitalize on that, just getting past most of the field, and then right at the end, I mean, Connors was great, just holding his ground, always having a good exit out of two. I think that was like the only overtaking spot, because I don't think yeah, you couldn't send it into one because of how the banking is. So yeah, I mean, big congrats to Connor, and yeah, looking forward to the next one.
Alrighty. Is there anyone you'd like to shout out, mention, or any final thoughts you'd like to add here while you're joining us up here in the booth?
Yeah, it's my whole Ball State esports team. My parents are watching as well in Singapore, and my friends are watching. So yeah, big shout out to them. And yeah, it's been fun. Let's keep going. I'll see you guys next week.
Absolutely. We'd love to see you up here again. Thank you so much for not only putting on one heck of a show, but spending some time up here with us in the booth. Ladies and gentlemen, that was our Muhammad Alif, our third place finisher tonight in one half of the final battle coming through turns 3 and 4, which means now I do believe it is time to bring in our winner from tonight's race, Connor Levy in the number 14 out of Arizona State. Connor, where do we even start with that race, that finish? I mean, what is going through your mind right now?
Disbelief, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, you've got us dumbfounded up here in the booth as well, my man. I mean, we Kristen will tell you, dude, we were both literally screaming at the end of that finish. I mean, that was a crazy race, especially a crazy final 10 laps or so, and then the final corner. I got to know your thoughts. What was going through your brain on the final lap, especially going down the backstretch, seeing that Alif's got the run, and then the battle coming through 3 and 4?
I knew he was going to send it, so I was not going to try to block that line and get dumped. I moved to the outside because I thought that would be the best place to at least have a shot to hold the line, and it was working fairly well. And I think he got loose because the car's tires, everyone was pushing really hard at the end, and the tires were done, and so easy to get loose on the exit of those corners. And he hit the bump and shot sideways into my quarter panel, and we both spun across the line pretty much.
Yeah, and then looks like you got to hit a couple of times after the final corner as well. A couple people just kind of torpedoed their way down the front stretch once it was done.
I noticed that.
The other thing I really wanted to ask you before I throw it over to my man Christian here is, I want you, if you can think back to it, around 8 laps to go, you go to make the pass on Andrew Williams, and there's a bit of a racing deal, a little bit of contact here or there. What was kind of going through your mind leading up to trying to make the pass there, and then after that kind of shakes out with you in the lead?
So I knew I had the run as soon as we were in the middle of turn 2 because I had the better line, and I'd be able to come out with more speed. And I got alongside him, and I just braked just a little late and got tight in the middle of the corner because I was trying to push really hard because I was trying to get past him. I lightly tapped his quarter panel, got him back going straight again, and then when you're a little unsettled on the outside, especially over that bump on the exit of 4, like I said earlier, it really screws you up down the entire front straightaway. So he was loose down the entire front straightaway, and after that I was like, oh fuck, I didn't want to do that. But it's going for your first win. You can't just give up moves like that.
Yeah, no, I get that. Both of you guys were fighting pretty hard at the end there, and it ended up a bit of a racing deal, but one heck of a finish to say the least.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was I'm still kind of processing that. I'll probably be watching this finish after the race, and I mean, just kind of looking through it. But that was a phenomenal. And let me just say also, congratulations
Thank you.
on your win there. I mean, just just capture the moment. Feel, just remember what this feels like, and just kind of don't obviously take it all in. Remember what this is like. I mean, what you've been racing for a few seasons now. How does this feel? Can you even put it into words for the viewers?
No, not really. It's just crazy. And it's only my second season. I knew I had the pace, at least from qualifying, to win at least a few times last season, maybe at least once or twice. I think I took pole at this race last year, but I wasn't quite fast enough in the race to get it done. But here I was faster than I was last year, and I guess I just managed to get it done this time. Didn't make any big mistakes, except for there was a couple of laps where I was completely out of control of my car. But I managed to gather it back up and stay in the top 5. I was partway through the race. And honestly, yeah, I just can't believe it.
Yeah, I mean, what a phenomenal finish there. And again, once more, congratulations. I mean, that was a phenomenal finish. Before we send you on your way or anything like that, is anyone you want to thank, and you want to comment or shout out or anything like that?
Not really, except for Garrett for being a good teammate and giving me and him giving each other tips for the race beforehand.
Yeah, teammates can make or break your race. So
Always.
I definitely agree. And that was again phenomenal finish, and love to see you back next week. And again, congratulations. Enjoy your P1.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
You as well, Connor Levy, picking up the win here today at Darlington in the CIL Southern 200. How about we do a quick rundown of the final standings here, Christian?
Yeah, as we just talked to our P1 finisher from Arizona State, which is Connor Levy in that 14 machine, followed by P2, Matthew Norberg sneaking in on by in that NC State machine, taking that second place finish, followed by R. Muhammad Ali in that 12 machine by Ball State. Going out further, even more, we have P4, Jason Wallet from Drexel University. Athena Claire, running out to our top 5, is from St. Clair College in the 61 machine. Number 6 is Edwin Onofre, 99 machine from North Texas, followed by P7, Tim Robb in the number 5 machine from American University. P8, Santiago Therese in the 117 machine from UNC Charlotte, followed by P9, Andrew McCall, and P10, Colin Culpa, Andrew McCall in the Purdue machine, as well as rounding our top 10 is Colin Culpa in the Indiana machine. P11, Matthew Burton, East Tennessee State, followed by P12 and Timothy Wilms in the another Drexel University machine. P13, Jacob Weist, UNC Charlotte, followed by Jared Kaler, another UNC Charlotte, our championship winner from last season, a number 1. He's able to take that. P15 is Jay Cummings from Wingate University. P16, Andrew Williams, who unfortunately lost the lead there in the 23 machine from Clemson. P17, Garrett Vitton from Arizona State in the 42 machine, followed by P18, Michael Sidor in the Penn College of Technology. We say that right this time. There we go. P19, Jeremy Miller in another Purdue machine in the 100 machine, Purdue, yeah. And P20, Matt Stawecki, 62 machine, James Madison University, running our top 20.
P21 and P22 are a couple of teammates out of UNC Charlotte, Spencer Brown and Clint Halterman. Tristan Yoder will bring back Robert Morris University's lone entry tonight, home P23. Dylan Godinez for the Penn College of Technology will be 24th, and 25th is Esteban Munoz for Florida International. Austin DeLong will be 26th for the Penn College of Technology, and then a couple of St. Clair College cars running 27th and 28th with Zach Doyle and Alex Hogarth. And to finish out the rest of our order here, Nick Stockner comes home 29th for Clemson. Zachary Self for Minnesota State Mankato is 30th. Robbie Vrabel Jr., the dominant car early today, will finish 56 laps down in 31st. Ethan Head brings it home 32nd for the University of Tennessee. Andrew Burrell will be 33rd for Clemson. Andrew Stagey, 34th for Ball State University. Brandon Schulenberger for Wingate brings it home 35th. In that number 7 car, Cody Fadenhauer for VCU is 36th, Rhett Crane for Ball State 37th, and Nicholas Budimlik is 38th for St. John's University. And Caden Kimball rounds out the rest of our order here in 39th for Ball State. Well, I still am trying to process the end of that race, to be honest with you. That was an absolute phenomenal finish. Back-to-back weeks of just absolutely thrilling final 10, 15 laps or so here in the CIL. Also, congratulations to Connor Levy. He punches his ticket to the CIL playoffs for the CIL Cup Series. Any final thoughts here, Christian? I mean, I know we've got some short track, or is it short track or Formula C this week, Scott?
It's going to be short track.
Is it short track? Short track showdown will be Wednesday. But yeah, any final thoughts you have here before we move on to that race on Wednesday?
I mean, just incredible. There's so much to go over in that race. I mean, one of the big things I want to talk on, because again, he's a friend of mine, but also a longtime racer here in the CIL, is just, pour one out for Andrew Williams. That was an incredible race from him. He was holding that P1 for a pretty long time until that unfortunate demise there in the last 15 laps. So definitely rough one for him. And I mean, just if you can go back and watch that finish, guys, or guys and gals, and just watch that. It was absolutely incredible. That's all I can say.
Couldn't agree with you more. Rough break there for Andrew Williams, but his misfortune, I guess, does lead us to one of the best finishes I've ever seen in the history of the CIL. So it's not going to give him much solace, but it should give a lot of the viewers some perspective on it, I guess. But that is going to do it here for our broadcast of the CIL Southern 200, round 6 of the 10-race regular season before we hit the playoffs. For everyone here at the CIL, all the racers, administrators, producer Scott, my co-host Christian here tonight, I've been Alex Gagnon, wishing you all a great night, and we will catch you Wednesday for the short track showdown.